So what is the point of demonizing red meat?
First and foremost, shout out to Lazy J Meats and Diamond B Livestock for being extremely mouthy on these subjects. Y'all go check them out because they're bringing awareness like I'm trying to do about what's going on with you and your food. Let's talk about this one though. Why are they demonizing red meat? Have y'all noticed, are you paying attention to the fact that cattle, both dairy and beef, are being demonized around the world? Why is that, you think? Let's talk about it. What you see in front of you is from the EPA, direct from their website. U.S. methane emissions by source. How many of you have heard that cow burps and farts are destroying the environment? Okay? Well, where they're counting that is in enteric fermentation at 25% and manure management over there on that 9%. But if you were to do a search on the U.S. population of cattle since 1900 on Google, you are going to find that we're only about 3 times more than we were in 1867 right now. Now, if we were to search Google for the estimated number of buffalo, we're going to find out that there were 30 to 75 million. I hate to tell y'all, but today that number is about 500,000. Why is that important? Well, if cattle are truly the problem, for those of you that do not know in Americans' history, we wiped out the buffalo population. I'm mostly native, by the way, so this one's a little to me. We wiped out the buffalo population to help round up the Indians and put them into reservations. Because if they can't go out and hunt their food, well, they're going to die. So now they're on the government teat, so to speak. But why does this matter with beef and demonizing red meat? Well, let me tell you. Because what we lost in buffalo is what we've gained in cattle. And by the way, they're extremely similar digestive systems. So the methane emission argument becomes pretty damn invalid to me when we're talking about this, considering that we have replaced one species of bovine for another in pretty much the same amount of numbers. But going back to the good old EPA, the number one problem that we've got going on with climate issues is cows from their burps and farts of methane gas. Y'all seeing where this isn't making sense? But look at those other 2 big old chunks there, landfills, natural gas and petroleum systems. Oh, but TikTok, they left out some important notes on these data. Because the part that they're not telling us is that the carbon and emissions and methane and everything coming out of fossil fuels, polluted rivers, that's a good one for y'all to go rabbit hole dive into, and so forth. All of those are added, whereas the cow is able to save the environment. And I highly suggest y'all go check out Alan Savory's TED Talk on YouTube to learn more about how cows and ruminants, grass-eating livestock, can save the environment. Now, the last graphic I showed you was specific to carbon. But what about methane? Because that's where they're placing the argument. So here, have a look. If you do a Google search for cattle methane cycle, you're going to find out that UC Davis learned that after about 10 years, methane is broken down and converted back into CO2, which is then going back into the soil through the carbon cycle. Go look up carbon cycle on YouTube and you'll learn more. So once again, fossil fuels add, cattle burp it out, but it goes right back into the soil as long as it's managed properly through grazing practices. So why demonize red meat? Why try to get rid of the cow? How many of y'all have seen fake meat starting to show up in lab-grown meats? Some of my other videos talk about this. In fact, it's exactly what happened during the dairy industry, because it led y'all to all starting to buying nut milks instead of cattle milk. Everything is being pushed towards food production being able to be done in tightly controlled arenas. And what I mean by that, and I know that this video is getting ready to have a whole lot of Bill Gates in the comments, but look at the lab-grown meat movement that is happening behind the scenes. Look at the demonization of cattle. Go check out Lazy J's videos on Instagram about what the cattle packers are doing that is going to reduce the amount of money going to farmers and ranchers with their cattle herds starting next month, increasing the amount of money they are going to be charging, and that's going to land on you as the American consumer. You are starting to see the unraveling of beef in terms of you not being able to afford it anymore, and to the rescue will be lab-grown meats.